all my life. It's my talent, getting women to do what I want them to do. Bartender, this one's on her.
He was charming.
Who is he? He's gorgeous. He can't take his eyes off you.
He was wealthy.
Is your wife rich?
Very.
So you stand to inherit a great deal of money.
And I've earned every penny.
He was a real lady killer.
God put too damn many attractive women on this earth.
Hasn't anyone ever said no to you before?
My wife said no, just before I threw her out the window.
We're dealing here with a case of cold-blooded murder for profit.
You find it amusing, being charged with murder?
I want you to defend me. He's a slimy son of a bitch.
But the question is he a murderer?
We need to get one thing very clear. I did not murder anybody.
The moment she took his case...
You know, it's funny. I actually believe you. Liars are seldom this blunt.
I guess I got me an attorney.
He took control.
What did you tell her?
Everybody knows we're lovers.
There's nothing going on with me and this guy. I'm not attracted to him.
He's butting into our lives, so I say dump him.
And he has her where he wants her.
I'm forbidden to repeat anything you tell me.
Does that pertain to just the current crime that I'm charged with, or would that include any other murders?
Can't turn him in unless you want to kiss your career goodbye.
He can take me down with him.
Like that?
Rebecca De Mornay.
No, he had this whole thing worked out in advance.
Don Johnson.
Frankly, I'm beginning to tire of you. I swear to tell the whole truth.
Jeremy won't hurt you. He needs you.
And nothing but the truth.
And what happens when he doesn't need me anymore?
So help me God.
Guilty as sin.
Well, this is a movie where everybody in here is kind of an idiot. Don Johnson's an idiot because he's basically admitting that he's killed people before, and he did it this time with his wife, and he has no remorse about it. Rebecca De Mornay is stupid because he thinks he's full of it, and just everybody in here in this movie just feels like an idiot. Like nobody in this movie feels smart whatsoever. And that's why this movie is so terrible. It's a movie that you cannot take seriously by any means necessary. Like, this cast is being completely wasted on a script that doesn't even try to hide the fact that what's obviously happening clearly is happening. I mean, the title of the movie pretty much tells you everything you need to know. I mean, that trailer alone pretty much tells you everything that needs to be said about this particular movie. It's just like... It's a mess of a movie. Like, I just don't get what they were thinking about this. There's no mystery. There's no big twist here. There's nothing exciting about this movie. They just spell everything out for you, and they're like, we don't care as long as we got your money. It's just a mess. It's just a mess of a movie on so many levels. A waste of talent, a waste of a script, a waste of direction. It's just a waste overall. It's a movie that just has nothing remorseful. It's just nothing of interest whatsoever. It's a movie that it's a movie that can't even make me think straight. That's how bad of a movie it is. It's a terrible movie, god awful film. I don't know what they were thinking when they made this movie. It's a mess. It's a mess on so many levels. So that's Guilty as Sin. So with that said, let's move on to a movie that's slightly better, but not by that much. It's Michael J. Fox in the family comedy Life with Mikey.
You're little Mikey.
You remember?
I used to watch you all the time. You were so cute.
I'm still so cute.
Michael Chapman used to be a star.
I'm little Mikey.
So what? Now, he's just a talent agent looking for a new client.
Cut!
It's so cute at this age.
How much of this crap do I have to eat today? What am I, Job?
Then he met a performer
If you didn't steal anything, what is this?
that would turn his life around.
I tried to steal it, which is wrong and bad and terrible. But enough about me.
If you can do it in front of a television camera, what you just did in front of those people, we could be very wealthy.
Like you to meet Angie Vega, our newest client.
Well, hello, Dolly.
Who's the troll?
Touchstone Pictures presents Michael J. Fox and Christina Vidal.
You said she doesn't go to school. She steals. She ran away from home. Ah!
Coffee.
Coffee?
Yeah, coffee. It comes from beans. Ever heard of it?
We're now representing the oven. What would you like for Christmas?
I'd like for you to find the chimney and shove yourself out.
Finally, you found a little girl with some spirit.
Now with a little teamwork
Separate checks.
and a lot of luck.
You boys and I are going to have to discuss making Angie our national sunburst cookie girl.
They might just make it to the top. Michael J. Fox, Life with Mikey.
Did you check her head with a little 666?
Yeah, there was only 2 6s. We got her just in time.
Okay, so in terms of Michael J. Fox's movies, this is probably the weakest movie from him as a leading actor in it. But overall, it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie, but I think its biggest problem is that it's one of those movies where you can kind of predict where it's going to go. But there are things about it that make it somewhat watchable. Like Michael J. Fox, I think, does as good of a job as he can usually do. You got Nathan Lane in here, it can be very funny. Some good casting overall. Cyndi Lauper's in here. You've got Christina Vidal, who would later go on to star in Taina. That's the show I remember her from. David Krumholtz, who was in the Santa Claus movies. And it's interesting when you look back at this movie and the fact that it came out in 1993, and then 1 year later he's in the Santa Claus, and he looks so different in this movie than he does in that movie. Like in the Santa Claus, he looks like an adult, but in this movie and also in Addams Family Values, he still looks like a kid. Like I really don't know what happened there, but it's interesting to see when you really look at this movie and the fact that this is a good 18 months in between this movie and the Santa Claus, and this guy looks completely different in both movies. Speaking of Santa Claus, David Huddleston from Santa Claus the movie is also in here. You got Victor Garber, you got Paula Garces from Clock Stoppers and Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Ruben Blades is in here, Christine Baranski, Mandy Patinkin. Just a really good cast overall here. It does go the formulaic route, and I think that's the weakest thing about this movie, but I don't know, I thought it was alright for what it was. It's a movie that's kind of like, it's there, you watch it once, and it's just kind of like, I'm glad I saw it. I have really no need to watch it again, but I am glad that I saw it. So that's pretty much all I got to say about it. I've seen much worse. That's the best way to describe it. I've seen much worse in terms of movies like this. So anyway, that's Life with Mikey. Now let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is The Music of Chance.
It's called The City of the World. Everything in it happens at once.
2 total strangers.
Pick you up on the road, you look half dead, you tell me this wild story. Why the hell should I believe a word of it?
Destiny drew them together.
I gotta see what you can do with my own eyes.
Hey, no problem, partner. I'll show you my stuff. You'll be so impressed your mouth will drop open. I'll make your eyes fall out of your head. It's crazy.
Fate made them friends.
We can't have no uninvited guests sneaking through the gate.
We got an invitation.
Now, I don't know who's responsible for it, but he's one hell of a little poker player.
Together, they'll discover.
What makes you think anything's gonna be different this time?
We took lessons.
That life is a game of chance.
A full house. What can you do to answer that, Jack?
Nobody. Looks like we hit the walk home.
But nobody plays by the rules.
I told you before it was a mistake to trust these guys.
If we let them leave, they'll never pay us back.
What is this, some kind of a prank?
Anything like that can seriously hamper a man's ability to express himself.
Does have a way of adjusting focus, don't it?
James Spader, Mandy Patinkin, Charles Durning, Joel Grey, and M. Emmett Walsh. A dark tale of destiny and revenge. A film by Philip Haas. The Music of Chance.
So really, I know nothing about this. I didn't even know this movie even existed before I actually did the research on it. But I mean, it actually looks kind of good. Like I'm not used to seeing James Spader in that particular role. I didn't even know that was him until the trailer basically said it was him. Another movie with Mandy Patinkin in it. M. Emmett Walsh is in this movie. Charles Durning, Joel Grey, Samantha Mathis, Chris Penn. A good cast overall. A good concept all alone. So, yeah, it definitely could be pretty good. I haven't seen it. I can't really comment on it too much, but it looks like it could be a pretty good movie. So maybe this is one I'll definitely check out down the road. My interest is definitely piqued after watching this trailer for it. So I got nothing else to say about it. It's the music a chance.
There it is. Welcome to Jurassic Park. We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
The most phenomenal discovery of our time.
How'd you do this?
Becomes the greatest adventure of all time.
Can I touch it?
Sure. Universal Pictures presents.
You feel that?
Hold on to your butts.
A Steven Spielberg film.
This is a feeling all over the park.
Yeah, that's nice. Gotta go.
An adventure.
Look out! No!
I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
65 million years in the making. Jurassic Park.
You know what? Hold on one second, because we need to do this right. Give me 1 second. I don't know if you're going to see it, but we are talking about Jurassic Park, so that means I need to have this on. Because it's become a tradition when you talk about these movies, and honestly, let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. There we go. This is going to look absolutely ridiculous, but honestly, I kind of have to do it because, really, what more can you say about Jurassic Park that hasn't already been said? It's a great movie. Great movie with the visual effects that still very much hold up to this very day. Scenes that still hold up to this very day. I mean, the first scenes you see of the dinosaurs in this movie, like I said, they still hold up over 30 years later, and they're still magnificent to see. It's hard to believe that in the 30 years since this movie came out, this movie still has so many great moments in here that just still hold up to this very day. That first moment when they see the I think it's the Brachiosaurus, but the long-necked dinosaur, and it just looks amazing over all these years later. It's a moment that just still holds up, and that's what really makes. And that's really on Steven Spielberg overall, and that's why he's one of the great directors, because he can make these moments that just hold up after so many years. And it's just all over his movies. That's why I think many of us consider him the greatest director that's ever lived. And the movie overall is just a ton of fun. The action is still very good. The visuals are still very impressive. The characters are very likable. You like all these characters. Most of the characters, for the most part. There are moments where you get the stupid characters, but that's part of the fun of the movie. And you just, there's just so many great moments in this movie that still hold up all these years later. And I mean, you can't really go wrong with this movie at all. There are a lot of flaws to it, yes. But, you know what? They're fun, but the movie overall is very fun. It's a movie that still holds up all these years later. And, there's no denying that it's still the best movie in the entire series. As much as I like the Jurassic World trilogy overall, nothing tops the original film. This movie still holds up so many years later. It's a movie that I can watch any single time and get really sucked into it. It's just a great ton of fun. I mean, if you're not having fun during the rain scene in this movie where the T-Rex attacks the cars, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but, yeah, Jurassic Park is pretty damn good. I mean, is there anything more I really need to say about this movie that hasn't already been said already? It's just, it's a great movie. It's a great, great film. Still holds up many years later, and, like I said, it's one of the highest grossing movies of all time for a reason. It's a movie that changed the game in terms of the summer blockbuster, how to do visual effects, and how to just have a massive film like this. It's just a great movie. It's just a great fun movie overall. I love it. You love it. What more can I say? So With that said, let's move on to the next movie, and that next movie is the Tina Turner biopic, What's Love Got to Do with It? Now, let me see if I can pause this with this on. Nope, can't do it. My hand was literally close to the thing, and I don't think I was even close to it, honestly. But anyway, What's Love Got to Do with It is next.
All she ever had was her voice and her dreams.
Your mama had to go away for a while.
When is she coming back to get me?
She ain't, honey. She just ain't.
All she ever wanted was a chance to make her dreams come true.
Every woman in here want to sing with Ike's band.
Oh, please don't leave me, baby. That girl can sing.
Girl, you shocked the hell out of me.
Say you want me to be his new singer.
Watch yourself. You know what they say about Ike.
Darling,
Yes, Tim.
I think it's gonna work out fine.
It's gonna work out fine.
Priceless, girl. Priceless.
She priceless, all right. She ain't seen a dime of it yet.
Everyone who's come up with me has left me.
I wouldn't do that.
What the problem is?
I'm trying to help Ike, all right?
You trying to help Ike?
You got yourself a good man. You just keep him happy.
1, 2, 3, 4.
She had given him everything he wanted.
You get this car, Devin. Get the car.
You can't keep hiding black eyes from us. I just can't walk out.
She never stopped believing things would change.
I just need a rest.
She's quite ill, and I'm not releasing her for at least another 3 weeks. I need you to get out on that stage right now. You can't get away from me, and I'm in here.
But if she ever wanted to find her dreams,
When you can see yourself clearly, your life will change.
she had to start believing in herself.
I made you. You wasn't nothing without me, and you ain't gonna be nothing without me.
I'll give it all up. Just release the claim on my name.
Means you're going to walk out of here with absolutely nothing.
Except my name.
Touchstone Pictures presents the story of a remarkable woman who refused to give up.
I'm ready. I'm ready, and I know what I want.
What's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion?
So this is, of course, the story of the autobiography of Tina Turner, which is very interesting because this trailer never says Tina Turner until the very end of the trailer, which is interesting and on so many levels. But the movie overall is pretty good, and I think it works mostly because of the performances by Angela Bassett as Tina Turner and Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner. And I think these two really do carry the movie, and it's no wonder why they got nominated for Best Actress and Best Actor at the Academy Awards. And as far as the movie itself goes, it's overall okay. It's nothing that's really amazing. It's nothing that's really groundbreaking. It kind of falls into a lot of similar problems that a lot of these musical biopics do. I think they try a little too hard to dramatize many aspects of a story, and at least to this movie's credit, it doesn't go completely over the top like something like Bohemian Rhapsody and Elvis does, where it tries to be more of a crowd-pleasing movie. This movie at least tries to make the story very interesting while not trying to be a safe and marketable movie. Because that's what I think the biggest problem with something like Bohemian Rhapsody and Elvis were like. They were movies that were trying a little too hard to be mass marketed than actually try to tell a legitimately good story. But like I said, overall, it is a good movie. It has a lot of things about it that are really good. There are only just a couple of little flaws here and there to make it kind of less than perfect. Is the best way to describe it. Like, it's so close to being a decent, one of the best biopics ever. But overall, it's like I said, it's a good movie. It's close to a great movie. I think where the really great things come from it are from Bassett and Fishburne. They're the two people who really bring this together in the best way possible. I think a better script could have easily made this one of the great biopics of all time, but you know what, for what it is, it's a pretty good movie overall. It's a movie that's very fun, not very fun. There's things in this movie that are not very, very fun. But, yeah, it's an overall good movie. It's a movie that I would recommend if you're looking for a good, solid biopic on Tina Turner's life, even though it's funny that, like, Ike Turner didn't like the way that he was portrayed in this movie, and even Tina Turner herself did not like the way she was portrayed in this movie. That should tell you a lot when the person whose movie this is based on is even looking at this and going, this doesn't feel right. But like I said, a good movie overall. Mostly benefits from the two performances by Bassett and Fishburne, but overall, yeah, it's not real. It's a really good movie. Could be a great one. That could have been a great one though. So anyway, with that said, on to the next movie, and that is one of Sony Pictures Classic's earliest big releases, and that was Orlando.
It's really very good. I think it'll sell. By the way, how long did this draft take you?
There can be no doubt about his sex, despite the feminine appearance that every young man at the time aspires to.
Do not fade, Orlando. Do not grow old.
Sasha, I cannot think of a life without you.
I see. You're here as a casualty of love.
To me, you were and always will be, whether male or female, the pink, the pearl, and the perfection of your sex.
As if yourself what I was. No difference at all. Here I am again.
Here's a fun game. Take a shot every time Tilda Swinton looks straight into the camera. You will be drunk by the end of this movie. Like I said, this was one of the groundbreaking releases for Sony Pictures Classics. This was kind of their first major success. And you can kind of see why. It's a visually gorgeous-looking film. I make fun of the fact that Tilda Swinton mostly looks at the camera most of the time. But, I mean, she's given it her all. She's given a really good performance as Orlando. And you got a great cast overall. Billy Zane in here. And it's an overall enjoyable movie. It's a very well-made film. Visually gorgeous to look at. Has a very compelling story. Does a good job of adapting the book for this, the Virginia Woolf book. And it's an overall very enjoyable film. It's a film that has a lot of visual flair to it. Has a lot of intriguing elements to it. And it is a pretty enjoyable film. And it branches out and it has a breakout performance by Tilda Swinton, who would later go on to win an Academy Award for Michael Clayton, and along with some other great movies in her career. But yeah, overall, this is a pretty solid film. It's a movie that I would recommend checking out. I know it was just re-released on 4K with the Sony Pictures Classic 20th anniversary, or 30th anniversary set, I should say. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that on 4K one day. So, excuse me. Anyway, that's Orlando. Now let's move on to a movie that's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and that is Romper Stomp.
We came to wreck everything.
Let me tell you something. I want you to listen to me, okay? This is not your country.
It's about war, isn't it?
God sent us.
Well, I'm certainly glad that this movie is clearly dated and has no real impact on what's been going on in society over the last 30 years. Oh boy, this movie is it's something. It's something, all right. Now, I haven't seen the movie. I can't really comment on it, but just by that trailer alone, talk about a movie that's held up over the 30 years since it came out. Because, whew, well, to the movie's credit, I mean, it's got some good reviews to it. It could be one of the more uncomfortable movies you'll ever see, and you get to see a young Russell Crowe in one of his early film roles. But yeah, I can't imagine this movie having an influence over 30 years later, and yeah, I wish I could go into more of it. Like I said, I haven't seen it. I can't really comment on it too much, but it's kind of hard not to look at it and think about the way the world has been in the 30 years since then. So, yeah, that's Romper Stomper, and I'm sorry I don't have too much more for you, but let's move on. Let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Equinox.
Boys, who are they? Who did they turn out to be? How much do they know, if they know anything?
A shocking secret.
Get back! You understand me?
And we do know him? No.
A terrifying world. And two brothers separated at birth.
So when this Matthew Modine plays identical twins, they live in this fictional city called Empire. They have no idea that they're related to each other, and then they eventually meet up, and it creates a lot of conflict between these two. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really comment on it too much, but it looks pretty good. Matthew Modine playing a double role in this. You got Laura Flynn Boyle in here, Fred Ward, Marissa Tomei, Tate Donovan, Laurie Singer, and Emmett Walsh. And it's got some decent reviews to it. Plus, it's Alan Rudolph. Alan Rudolph, we've talked about his movies before. He made Mortal Thoughts, which came out the year before. We've also talked about Love at Large. And he's a pretty good director overall. So I can't imagine this movie I can't imagine this movie not being somewhat enjoyable and somewhat well made. Yeah, it looks like it could be pretty good. So maybe one day I'll definitely check it out. But it's not something that's completely on my radar right now. But like I said, it looks pretty good, so that's Equinox for you.
The madman known as the Ripper have totally broken down, and there is no word on the hostages.
Police have surrounded the ground floor, and SWAT teams are moving into position.
Oh my God, they're shooting at us! Get down!
The situation is out of control. The police are
Is that a special hostage negotiator has been called in?
What they need down here is an armored division. This is completely insanity. I've never seen anything like it.
Right now, there's a truck directly in the line of fire guns.
This may be the hostage negotiator police we're talking about.
Slater!
You may remember Detective Slater from an earlier story. He is notorious in police circles for his unusual tactics and...
Don't even think it, Slater! You hear me?
Nonetheless, Slater is known throughout the city as someone who gets the job done.
Then you go in there, and it's your badge!
Sorry, not yet. Come back later.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, last action hero, the big ticket for '93.
Great trailer, by the way. Very underrated teaser trailer for this movie. But this movie is one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's first major bombs as an action star. But, honestly, when you look back, there's a couple of reasons why that is. And basically, you could pretty much start it off with Universal's release of Jurassic Park, which was moved up to June 11th, 1993, well after Sony had placed it on June 18th. So that was the first caveat right there. Second of all, the movie was reportedly the first to have an advertisement placed on a space-going rocket. The film was capsized with a wave of negative publicity after a rough cut of it was shown to a preview audience in May. Sony then literally tried to destroy the test cards, and the word of mouth proved to be more catastrophic for the movie. The shooting and editing schedule was so demanding and so close to the release date, they said that they shouldn't have had Siskel and Ebert telling us the movie is 10 minutes too long. That's literally what somebody on Sony basically said. Not only that, Sony was even more humiliated the weekend after the film opened when the movie lost over 47% of its audience, and TriStar's Sleepless in Seattle, which TriStar was also as a part of Sony, opened at the number 2 movie at the box office. The final total for this movie was $26 million lost, and Last Action Hero was the first movie released with the Sony Dynamic Digital Sound. Unfortunately, only a few theaters were set up for that format, and many of those experienced the technical problems with the new system, including some people at Paramount basically saying, it's basically referring to it as still doesn't do shit. So yeah, that's not a very good sign at all. It doesn't also help that there was a lot of script doctors on this, uncredited work by people like Carrie Fisher, Larry Ferguson, William Goldwyn. The movie itself was supposed to be a parody of films written by Shane Black, and then Shane Black himself actually was later credited as one of the screenwriters for it. And like I said before, it was the first major misfire from Arnold Schwarzenegger, who had a pretty good stretch of movies up to that point that were big successes. But I think the only couple that I know from that is before this came out that were really big misfires were Raw Deal and Red Heat. Everything else in between there was a somewhat profitable hit until this movie came around, and it was a butt of many jokes for a number of TV shows at the time. I know The Critic had a great joke about it, where Jay was going to get replaced by a dolphin not a seal that can review movies, and when the seal starts to attack Jay's boss goes, "Last Action Hero," and the seal's just like, "Oh God, not again!" And so yeah, Last Action Hero did not have the best track record back then, but 30 years later, honestly, it's a movie that's kind of ahead of its time when you really think about the concept and just the fact that it was able to make fun of not only action movies as a whole, but just movies at the time, blockbuster films in general at the time. There's a lot of things about this movie that really do work. I think the visuals overall are very fun. I think there are some very funny jokes in this movie. Probably one of my favorite ones is where they go into a video store in the Jack Slater movie world, and the kid's trying to prove to Schwarzenegger that he's an actor in a movie, and he tries to find Terminator 2. They find a Terminator 2 poster, and instead of Schwarzenegger, it's Sylvester Stallone as the Terminator, that's a really funny scene, and there's a lot of moments like this. There's a lot of cameos in this movie. You not only have Art Carney in here, Mercedes Ruehl, you also have F. Murray Abraham, Bobby Brown, Art Carney is the one I said Art Carney is the guy in the movie. Robert Prosky is the projectionist. But not only that, there's a ton of cameos in this movie. You have Franco Columbu, who is a fellow bodybuilder and friend of Schwarzenegger's, Tina Turner, Sharon Stone, and Robert Patrick in this movie, basically reprising their roles from Basic Instinct and Terminator 2. Michael Muscat, who was in Terminator 2 as well, and was also the acting coach for Edward Furlong. Angie Everhart is in here. There's a ton of cameos from different celebrities when they go to the premiere at the end of the film. Maria Shriver, Little Richard, Lisa Gibbons, Jim Belushi, Damon Wayans, Chevy Chase, Jean-Claude Van Damme. MC Hammer is in here. Wilson Phillips, Ian McKellen playing Death, Joan Plowright, Danny DeVito doing kind of like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit type of thing where he plays like a cartoon cat. And it's an insane amount of names in this movie, and there's even a scene where Schwarzenegger's character in the movie meets Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, and it's just like it's just insane the levels that they go to in this movie, and overall, it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun all around, but there are a lot of things about this movie that don't work. First of all, it's over 2.5 hours long, which in 1993 is a little bit much. There's scenes in this movie that make no sense whatsoever. There's a long scene early in the movie where the kid gets mugged by somebody in his own home, and it's just like, is this really necessary? Is this really something that needs to be in this movie? The daughter in the movie, within a movie, played by Bridget Wilson. Brigitte Wilson. She's good, but man, when she screams, it's just so annoying. It's like, oh my God. I get it. She's supposed to be the damsel in distress, kind of like a damsel in distress type of thing, but man, the way she screams in this movie is just, it gets annoying really, really fast. And And there's a lot of moments in here that don't work. There are jokes that don't really work all that well, but overall, man, the movie is really a ton of fun. There are definitely moments that could have easily been cut out of it overall, but you know what? The movie overall is, like I said, a ton of fun. I think it's one of Schwarzenegger's, it's maybe one of his most underrated movies, because he's made a lot worse movies than this one. I can think of stuff like Junior, Collateral Damage, what else is another one I can think of? I can't think of another one on the top of my head, but those are the two that really come to mind. As I think those movies are much worse than this movie is, and yeah, it's a fun movie. Is it a great movie? No, it's not a great movie overall. It definitely has a lot of moments in here that are really, really pointless, really unnecessary, but it is still a ton of fun. It's still a movie that's very entertaining. It's still a movie that's a ton of fun. It's a good summer blockbuster movie, and I think the movie would have been a success if they had moved it a little bit further away than Jurassic Park, instead of trying to release it the weekend afterward. Like, they thought that Jurassic Park was just going to be a one-weekend thing, and then all of a sudden, boom, here comes this movie. And turns out that's not the case. I mean, Jurassic Park has a long legacy to it, and Last Action Hero, it's a movie that for a while was seen as a major flop, but has grown to have a cult following over the years. It even recently got a nice 4K release from Sony, so even Sony finally starting to admit that, okay, this movie wasn't as bad as we initially thought it was. But, yeah, overall, the movie is a ton of fun. I think it is a very enjoyable film that does a very good job of satirizing action films of the time period. It knows it's trying to be more fun, more over the top than most movies like that. Like, it's basically making fun of. It's a good fun time. It's not a great movie all the way through. It's a very flawed film, but you know what? It's a ton of fun all around. I can't recommend it enough. If you want to see a good fun movie from Schwarzenegger, Last Action Hero is definitely it. Just be prepared for some scenes that go nowhere, but overall, you should come out of there feeling very good about it, even if you go in there with the right mindset. So yeah, that's Last Action Hero. Now let's move on to the other new release of the weekend, and that is a much smaller movie, but was a movie that didn't do so well, but it has kind of a lasting legacy, at least to me. I'll tell you all about it once I show you the trailer for Once Upon a Forest.
From the creator of An American Tale, meet the Furlings. They're fun, they're funny, and they're full of mischief. Furlings! But their friend Michelle needs a magic potion.
You only have 2 days' time.
Think we should take this?
Now they're on their own and off on an incredible journey. Join Abigail, the leader.
We can take care of ourselves, thank you.
Edgar, the brave.
I'm drowning! Get up. Oh.
And Russell, the one with an enormous appetite for adventure.
Look in your stomach.
From the courageous to the outrageous. Come along as they leap into action.
Hallelujah!
Swim against the odds. And together, come up with the perfect plan to reach for the sky.
You don't really mean fly. Michelle's counting on us.
Well, flap their little paws and fly like birdies.
We'll show you.
Great! The winder-uppers!
20th Century Fox presents a high-flying adventure that will send your spirits soaring. Once Upon a Forest, featuring the voices of Michael Crawford, Broadway's legendary Phantom,
Stupendous!
and the fabulous Ben Vereen.
There's gonna be some celebrating today.
Once Upon a Forest.
So this is a movie that I remember watching a lot when I was a kid. I remember that this was one of the first movies that I remember watching on videotape over and over again. It was a movie that I remember seeing a whole lot on videotape, and it's a movie that I saw a lot as a kid, but as I grew up, it's a movie that kind of went away from me for the most part. But it has an interesting history behind it. It was produced by Hanna-Barbera. This was before they became part of Warner Brothers, and the director of this, Charles Grosvenor, had been working at Hanna-Barbera for the longest time before he eventually became more well-known for directing the Land Before Time direct-to-video sequels. David Kirshner, the producer of this, also created An American Tail and the far more adult Child's Play series. But, yeah, and William Hanna was the executive producer on it, too, and I think Joe Barbera was, too. Looking back on it now, it's a nice-looking movie. It's a visually pleasing-looking film, a nicely animated movie, a good overall voice cast. You have Michael Crawford from The Phantom of the Opera, Ben Vereen. You also have Janet Waldo in here, Elizabeth Moss, who is more known now for her work in Mad Men, but she was actually a prolific child actor. She was in this. She was also in Frosty Returns, which since we're coming in December now, as I'm recording this, Frosty Returns is one of those interesting specials that I've talked about it before on the site. If you've ever gone and watched it again, it's one of the most bizarre specials you will ever see, because it's trying to be a sequel to Frosty the Snowman, and it's really failing miserably at it, and it kind of knows that it's not doing that. If you watch it again this holiday season, definitely see what I mean, because I've talked about it before on the site. It's a weird special, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Once Upon a Forest. But overall, the animation overall is very nicely done. The story is overall, it's a decent story. It's not the best story overall, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird way to send these characters off onto this adventure. Like, it's not like An American Tail where you can really understand the situation that Fievel is in. These three kids are basically being sent out by their caretaker or their uncle or the uncle of the kid who's sick, and he's basically giving them 2 days to go find these herbs to make this potion to save her life. And it's weird that it's one of those situations where the dude could have easily gone and do it himself. Like, he could have just left the kids with their friend who's dying on them, but then you wouldn't have a movie then. It's weird. It's like the three characters themselves, they're okay, but there's nothing really about them that makes them stand out. You've got the scaredy cat. You've got the kid who likes to eat a lot, because that's a lot of movies did that back then. You've got the kid who's also smart, who's also smart, even though nobody wants to admit that she's smart. And and there's nothing really all that interesting about them. It's interesting the adventures they go on. It's interesting how they go on these adventures and get themselves in these situations, but it's definitely a very flawed film. But I will say this, though. The one thing I think this movie has going with it compared to other movies like this is that the overall environmental theme in this movie is actually not as bad as you would think it is. It's not really sticking it into your face like most animated environmental movies would. There is a little bit of a pro and con to the situations that these characters find themselves in, and the overall environmental message of the film. And while it's not perfect overall, I do have to give him credit for at least trying to go into this idea here. But it's a very interesting scenario here, and it does make me appreciate this movie maybe a little bit more than most people would. It actually is a lot better than I think a lot of people give it credit for. It's a movie. It's very flawed. It's a very flawed film in the story department, character-wise, but the adventure they go on is overall very enjoyable, and I do like the fact that they do kind of change around the environmental message of the film a little bit more than you would think it would. And I'll say it this, it's a decent film. For little kids, I think they can definitely enjoy it and get a kick out of it. It's not something that's going to require a whole lot of repeat viewing from an older person like me. Like, maybe once in a while I'll go back to it and be like, I remember watching this as a kid. I think it's kind of fun. And I think kids will definitely find enjoyment in this. Adults, probably not so much, even though there are some moments in here that may seem a little more adult and may take them back when this came out when they were little. But, yeah, overall, I'd say this movie works better for kids and maybe people like me that grew up with it a little bit. But overall, if you've never even heard of this movie and you're looking for something to give the kids to watch, the kids will definitely enjoy it. The adults, not so much. That's probably the best way to describe it. So, there you go. That's Once Upon a Forest.
If you've just tuned in, we're talking to Sleepless in Seattle.
You called a radio station? Christmas Eve. He phones in one of those radio call-in shows. He tells them
that his dad needs a new wife.
And the shrinkette practically forces the guy onto the phone and says,
"Tell me, what was so special about your wife?"
Well, Dr. Marshall Fieldstone, I think. It was like magic.
Sleepless in Seattle?
That's what you called him on the show because he can't sleep.
And now 2,000 women want his number.
Dear Sleepless in Seattle, you're the most attractive man I ever laid ears on.
The guy could be a crackhead.
Actually, he sounded nice.
You know it's easier to be killed by a terrorist than it is to get married over the age of 40.
That's not true. That statistic is not true.
That's right. It's not true. But it feels true.
Sandy has a girlfriend, Glenda. She's a weightlifter. It's not like her neck is bigger than her head. No. I'm not asking you to set me up.
What about Walter?
Walter and I are engaged.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. When's the last time you were out there? Jimmy Carter, 1978. Things are a little different now.
I am having all of these fantasies about some man I have never even met who lives in Seattle.
It rains 9 months of the year in Seattle.
I know.
Tiramisu. What is tiramisu? You'll see. Some woman is going to want me to do it to her, and I'm not going to know what it is. You'll love it.
What if I never meet him? What if this man is my destiny and I never meet him?
Your destiny can be your doom. I want to meet you.
Dad, read this.
Where is Seattle? Right. Where's Baltimore? It's right there. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 26 states.
But what I really don't want to do is end up always wondering what might have happened and knowing I could have done something. This is crazy.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. What women are looking for. Pecs and a cute butt.
This is the one I like.
There is no way that we are going on a plane to meet some woman who could be a crazy, sick lunatic. Didn't you see Fatal Attraction? You can't even turn on the news nowadays without hearing about how some babe thought some guy's butt was cute. So how's my butt? Not bad.
It's interesting the history of this movie because honestly, this movie almost never got made. This was actually conceived as kind of a romantic drama. It was inspired heavily by An Affair to Remember, which if you've ever seen the episode of The Critic where Siskel and Ebert break up, they even point that out at the very end when they do kind of the parody of the climax of this movie, where Roger Ebert just goes, "Oh, this is just a ripoff of Sleepless in Seattle," and Gene Siskel goes, "Which wasn't in and of itself a ripoff of An Affair to Remember," and then they both say, "Which was not that good of a movie to begin with." Just another way for me to bring up The Critic. But I've never seen An Affair to Remember, so this is my first experience to this particular story, but I'm looking at the history behind this movie. A lot of studios actually rejected the script largely because of the fact that the main couple in this movie don't meet until near the end of the movie, which honestly I think is actually one of the pros of this movie, honestly, but this movie took a real long time to get made. The producer of the movie really believed in it. He actually had a hard time getting it made at TriStar Pictures because they found the emotional script promising but unsophisticated, and David S. Ward, who you know from Major League, and Nora Ephron, who When Harry Met Sally, were brought in to rewrite the script. And this actually was going to be directed by Nick Castle, who most of you will remember as Michael Myers in the original Halloween movies, but he also directed a movie that came out this week, and we'll get to that one later on. He actually left the film because he disagreed with the comedic approach of the movie. And like I said, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, this is the second time they reunited for the second of their 3 movies together. Of course, the first one was Joe versus the Volcano, and then the third one was You Got Mail, which came out 5 years later. As far as the movie itself goes, it's actually a really solid romantic comedy. I do like this idea that the two of them really don't meet until the very end of the movie. I think it actually plays out pretty well overall, because you want to build this relationship up, and you want that moment when they actually get together to be really special, and I think the movie does a very good job with that. The writing overall is very solid. There's a lot of great jokes, and you have a great cast involved in this. You got Bill Pullman, you see him in the trailer, as well as Ross Malinger, Rob Reiner, David Hyde Pierce, Rosie O'Donnell, Gabby Hoffman, Victor Garber, Rita Wilson, Carrie Lowell. Just a phenomenal cast of this movie overall. And the movie overall is just a really nice film. It doesn't have to do anything too crazy to make it to become a standout film. It just does a simple little love story that works out really well. And there's a lot of great jokes. There's a lot of great humor. There's a lot of great chemistry between these characters, and how both Hanks and Ryan are supposed to end up together. And it's a nice little story. It's a nice comfort food romantic movie. And it's a very well made film. And I know a lot of people seem to really like this movie. And honestly, it's hard not to see why, because it works mostly because of Hanks and Ryan. They just have this great chemistry that works so well. And the movie overall is just a great crowd-pleasing movie. It's amazing to think that in a summer where Last Action Hero was the biggest bomb for Sony Pictures at the time, they put this there a week after to try to make up money for it. And sure enough, not only do they do that, but it actually becomes one of the biggest surprise hits of the year, like a hit that nobody really saw coming. And like I said, you could definitely see why. It's a very pleasing and very enjoyable movie. Like, it's a wonderfully made film. A great direction overall. A great movie from Nora Ephron, who, I was going to say this is her directorial debut, but no, the last movie she did was This Is My Life, which she directed first. But this was kind of the movie that jumped her into becoming more of a prolific film director, because she did this, she did Mixed Nuts, Michael, You've Got Mail, Lucky Numbers, Bewitched, Julie and Julia. This was kind of the movie that started that upward trend. And like I said, it's just a phenomenal movie. It works really well because of Hanks and Ryan and this great cast and the great writing, the great direction. It's just a great movie overall. It's a movie that, really, I've got nothing more to say about it. It's a classic film. It just works so well. If you haven't seen Sleepless in Seattle, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. Go and check this movie out. You will not be disappointed. With that said, let me go ahead and talk about the other movie that Nick Castle actually ended up directing, the adaptation of Dennis the Menace, written by John Hughes, produced by him as well. You know, honestly, that teaser probably gives you a good sum up of this movie, because it definitely shows some promise. I mean, Walter Matthau as Mr. Wilson is perfect casting, but as far as the movie itself goes, it's pretty forgettable, and I think it mostly has to do with the main kid. Now, I'm not going to blame Mason Gamble. He got the job, and you know, honestly, he perfectly fits the role of the main character of Dennis the Menace, but I don't know. He seems a little too happy for his own good. I mean, it looks like he's overacting a little bit too much. Like I said, I can't really blame him for it. He won the role, and on paper, he probably is perfectly fine in this role, but man, his performance in this movie is way too over the top for this character. And I think that's one of the reasons why the movie doesn't really work as well. Overall, it's got a pretty good cast. Christopher Lloyd's in here. Joan Plowright playing Mr. Wilson's wife. Leah Thompson playing Dennis's mother. Paul Winfield's also in here. I mean, written and produced by John Hughes, directed by Nick Castle. there is a lot of talent here, and I think that's the other reason why this movie works, is because I think Warner Brothers, only hired John Hughes to do a movie that's basically Home Alone, Diet Home Alone. Like, not the John Hughes that we know and love. Like, the John Hughes that can make all these different movies. It can pretty much make the same movie, but give it its own flair to make it stand out on its own. When you watch this movie, it's following the Home Alone formula a little bit too much. Like, there are movies where this actually can work. I know that the next summer there's Baby's Day Out, which I think is a fantastically funny movie, and we'll get to that one later on. That movie as well has a lot of Home Alone-ish type of moments in there, but I think it's much more funnier than this movie is. I think this movie is trying a little too hard to. It's trying a little too hard to be another Home Alone movie, and not a Dennis the Menace movie, because Dennis doesn't really do a whole lot in this movie that makes him kind of a menace. He does like the typical things, like you see in the trailer. He does the thing where he flicks the pill inside of Mr. Wilson's mouth, and like he shoots a flaming marshmallow at his head. Like, stuff like that is there, but I don't think that was really the main focus of the movie overall. I think the script really could have used another rewrite to be more kind of like the comic books or the animated TV series at the time. I mean, the animated TV series was a lot of fun. I remember watching that as a kid, but even as a kid watching this movie, I was just kind of like, yeah, this really isn't selling me all that much. It's a movie where the intentions are there. There are brief flashes of potential and promise, but yeah, it just didn't work for me. It's a movie that's kind of like, it's there, and it's instantly forgettable. Like, I really don't remember a whole lot, but the stuff I did remember about it was not that great. So that's Dennis the Menace for you. Not a great movie, and certainly one of the first real misfires for John Hughes overall. With that said, let's move on to the last movie, and that is House of Cards.
A film so powerful, a story so moving.
Ms. Matthews, when did your little girl stop talking?
One of today's hottest actors, Tommy Lee Jones of The Fugitive, JFK, and Under Siege.
You really do need to come see me, you know.
I don't believe she needs to be treated by you or by any other doctor.
Stars with Kathleen Turner of this summer's Undercover Blues, War of the Roses, and Prince's Honor in the widely acclaimed story of a mother's fight to unlock the secret that's trapped in the mind of the child she loves.
I'm sure you haven't missed the fact your daughter almost killed herself today. Twice.
House of Cards.
Obviously not the Kevin Spacey series from Netflix, and certainly not the David Mamet movie House of Gains, which I thought this was at first, but obviously that's a different title. Pretty much that's the plot right there. This mother moves her family back to their house in a quiet suburb, hoping to put the past behind them. And while their son is able to adapt, her daughter is apparently traumatized by the experience and starts displaying this unusual behavior, including building an elaborate tower from playing cards and photographs. And then Ruth is later court-mandated to see this guy, Jake Bierlander, played by Tommy Lee Jones, an expert in child autism, to help her daughter. And what's interesting about this movie is that that movie was actually supposed to be released by Fox, but they delayed it for so many years, and then it actually premiered at the Sundance Film Festival without a distributor, and Miramax ended up picking it up. And that's how it came out as it is. And the movie doesn't look all that good. I should take that back. I mean, the movie could be good because of Tommy Lee Jones and Kathleen Turner, but from the reviews I've seen for it, it's a very mixed bag. Like, you see a couple of reviews where it is promising, but then you see a review like Roger Ebert's where it says it's all but inexplicable. If it's not interesting, intelligent, plausible, thought-provoking, entertaining, or necessary, the synopsis is so absurd it would also seem to be unproducible. I mean, it's a tough thing. I mean, it could be good, but I haven't heard a lot of great things about it. Don't even know too much about it. I can't really say anything about the movie itself because I haven't seen it, but I mean, it definitely could go either way. It definitely could be a movie that could be pretty good, or it could be a movie that's another Oscar baitish type movie. And I don't know. It's not something I want to rush out to see, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll definitely check it out. But that is House of Cards.